feel like you're doing all the right things. As far as you know, you eat the same, you exercise the same, and you probably sleep the same way, but the results are not showing up anymore. It's not that you failed. It's because your body, lifestyle, and needs have changed. And the habits that carried you through your 20s, 30s, and even 40s simply don't fit anymore. Why does that matter? Because if you keep relying on outdated systems and processes, you'll keep getting results you don't want. But midlife is the perfect time for a reset. Today we talk about why this is happening, that we feel like we're stuck, and how to get to the health and fitness results that matter now for you in midlife. This is the show for midlife women who want to stop second guessing and start feeling strong, focused, and fully themselves. I am Heike Yates, a midlife fitness expert and mindset coach. On the Pursue Your Spark podcast, I share simple, no fluff strategies for movement, mindset, and nutrition so that you can stop spinning your wheels and start showing up with strength and confidence. Because thriving in midlife doesn't start with perfection. It starts with one bold step. Strong, confident, fully you. That's how we do midlife. The other day, I was a guest on a podcast, and the host asked me specifically about what I'm eating every day, when I'm fasting, when I'm exercising, and how I do my thing, so to speak. And I had to preface this with that what I'm telling her on the show may not apply to all the people listening to the show, or only to some, because where I am now, I established this through trial and error, through taking notes, to paying attention to my body. And that is, everybody is different. So everybody has to look at their own body and their own past history of where they're starting from and what they know about fitness and nutrition. And we know so much about it. We are inundated on social media. We read about it. We hear the latest and the greatest diet things and procedures and exercise modalities. And we're becoming so confused, and we're stuck in what to do next. But one thing I can tell you for sure: healthy eating, exercise, and strength training is the key to make the changes that you may want to make now in midlife. Because in midlife, preserving muscle isn't optional. It's essential for metabolism, strength, and longevity. Just a few extra pounds of muscle can increase your resting metabolism by 7%. It's like a bonus activity while you're sitting. So you're sitting on your desk, you're burning more calories. Why does that matter, that we are looking at things differently now? Midlife isn't just another stage of life. Well, it is, but it's also a transition zone. And if you don't adjust your system, you risk losing strength, mobility, and energy faster than you realize. And if we're looking at some real life scenarios, you may go for your usual 3-mile run, and instead of feeling energized and great afterwards, you're wiped out for the rest of the day. Or you notice that picking up heavy grocery bags feels way harder than it used to. Or you wake up stiff, sore, thinking, why is my body fighting me? I used to bounce back so much faster than I do now. But again, this is not failure. That's biology. Muscle mass naturally declines about 3 to 8% per decade after 30, speeds up after 50. And if you keep doing cardio routines only, that will accelerate that muscle loss. So keep your cardio, but keep in mind that strength training becomes a non-negotiable in midlife. It's the thing that keeps you strong, keeps your metabolism humming, protect your bones so you don't have to worry about fear and fall and breaking your hip, which is oftentimes with older women the case when we fall. Keeping strong muscles is also essential to fight osteoporosis. and you feel confident every day doing everyday things like lifting the suitcase in the overhead bin. Of course, that came to me first thing because I love to travel, and lifting something in the overhead bin is no joke. And you can do that without worrying, throwing your back out. As I just said, cardio still matters, but it's not the more is better way it used to be. And I remember in the days when we were teaching, or I was teaching aerobics, and we were doing our Jane Fonda routines, and we had the greatest time. And the faster the beat, the cardio was, the better we felt, the more energized we became. And when I remember, I had to sometimes slow down my participants in my class because they're like, oh, we need to go faster. Pump it up a little bit, Heike. And I was like, no, this is fast enough because we're falling over our legs. But it was the faster the cardio, the better. In fact, overdoing cardio can spike stress hormones and leave you more drained than before now. So think about it, where you are now. All right, if you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Hey, it's Heike. Pursue Your Spark isn't your average self-help book. It's a wake-up call you didn't know you needed, because midlife isn't about winding down. It's about reclaiming who you are. I break down the 5 traps that keep us stuck, like comparison, burnout, and self-doubt, and show you how to break free without flipping your life upside down. And the best part, 6 worksheets that make it real. You'll actually take action, build momentum, and stop second guessing yourself. If you're done shrinking and ready to spark something powerful, the link to grab your copy is waiting for you in the show notes. Go get it. You are worth it. I can relate to your frustration if we're going back a whole bunch of podcast episodes, about 3, maybe 4 years by now, where I had microscopic colitis and I had gained weight and I didn't know what to do. And that's when I started intermittent fasting. But I want to keep this episode not about nutrition, but about cardio versus strength training in midlife. So as I said earlier in my story, in our 30s, cardio felt like the magic bullet. Treadmill workouts to cool music. We were spinning our legs as fast as we could. And I used to also teach spinning. And hard, long run made us feel amazing. Now, when you look at it, it may not be the case, because the reality is, too much steady state cardio raises your stress hormones and it raises your cortisol levels. And that is partially responsible for belly fat. Not only, but partially responsible. And when our stress hormones rise, we can't sleep. We are stressed all throughout the day. And also although these cardio workouts, as magical as they used to be, can leave you more exhausted instead of energized. And it chips away at muscles you are already losing, as I mentioned a little bit earlier. So let's change our system. Let's change our approach with a smarter way. Choose activities that energize instead of draining. Like, go for walks with friends. And I cannot tell you how many times I hear, Heike, I just walk. Was also a conversation at the interview I was interviewed at, or at the podcast that I was interviewed in. Dance classes, short interval training. And I've been talking about this, especially on Instagram, about doing a 15-minute workout. Great. It's a good workout. It doesn't stress you out. It doesn't increase your stress hormones. It gets the job done. And let me tell you, it doesn't have to be super duper HIIT strength training workout. A Pilates workout works just as great, or a really good yoga class, light weights, and you will feel great and energized, and you're not losing ground. Because I feel like at times when we're looking back at our history, we feel that we should do more. We used to do all of that. And now I just feel tired when I do so much. Well, then don't do so much. You're not losing any ground. You're being smarter about what works for you. It feels so much better after a short 15-minute, whatever intensity you choose, interval workout or a Pilates workout or I love to do my 20-minute upper body only dumbbell workout. And that's on Tuesdays, just in case you wonder. But that's when I do that. Think of cardio as a support for your heart health and mood, not your main strategy. And I've said this before, when I used to run about 3 years ago, I felt like $1,000,000 when I came back from my run. And I can't run anymore. So I walk really fast and I listen to a good book, something that is interesting. And sometimes I don't even listen because I just don't want any noise around me. But think about it, we do want to work on our heart health, but again, also in a different way than we have in the past. Let's look at the benefits of strength training and why it is absolutely a non-negotiable for you. Number one, it preserves muscles. I said just earlier, sarcopenia reduces or robs of our muscles as we get older. So we need to do something to preserve the muscles that we're losing and maybe even build some. It's all up to the individual. If that floats your boat, you do heavier weights. But it also keeps our metabolism active and steady. So no afternoon crashes. If you fuel correctly and you do strength training, you have a lot more energy. It strengthens our bones. It protects us against osteoporosis and supports mobility in our body. There is nothing better, or the feeling when you do something on your own and you feel strong about it and you know you can do it. Okay, here's a funny story. I love to lawn mow. Well, it's maybe an exaggeration, but I love to mow our lawn because it is a kick-butt-ski workout. It's strength, it's a little cardio, and a little balance because we have a little hill, small hill on our lawn. But sometimes my husband's like, oh, I can't go for a run today. I want to mow the lawn. And then I say, no, I want to mow the lawn. So we're battling it out. We're duking it out. Who does the lawn mowing? But it feels so good when I see women doing things that oftentimes just are prescribed for men to do. It's a manly job. So think about it. It supports your strength and your bones and your balance and the mobility you have to do everyday life, which brings us to improving balance and coordination. You know, when you're thinking hiking on uneven ground, now we have a lot of those hiking sticks, but it is a great way to feel confident when you're hiking up hills, when you're climbing over rocks, when you're working on your balance and coordination outside the gym, being away from the gym and the weights and the bands, but just being out in nature and doing what you love, maybe doing just like I love hiking. And strength training also boosts everyday energy. Think about carrying your groceries, lifting your suitcases, and keeping up with the grandkids. Let me tell you, I just had my grandkids visit. At the time of this recording, we have a 3.5-year-old Lila and my 7-month-old grandson, Oliver. And they are heavy. And so doing something with one arm, hello all moms, and then carrying one kid on the hip or the other one has an owie and you have to pick him up and schlep him around. Oh my God, I was so glad I did all the strength training that I have done at this point, and it encouraged me to do even more because of it. It can be really tough to make the shift from cardio first to strength first. But we can keep cardio, and we must keep cardio as our supporting role. Here's some practical swaps you might consider. Replace 5 days of running with 2 to 3 strength workouts and 2 fun cardio sessions. It's not quite as much running. If you're preparing for a race, if any of you listeners are preparing for a race, I know where you are, but think about, are you supporting your running through strength training? Trade a long treadmill workout for a 20-minute strength circuit. So you're combining the two of them. You do like 5 minutes on the treadmill, then you do bicep curls. Let's say one set of 12 bicep curls. And then you go back on the treadmill, something along those lines. In the end, you feel stronger, steadier, and more energized for your daily life. And I also want to help you with how to approach this. And I use my SPARK framework for this, which is S is for self-assessment, P is for planning the path, A is for action, 1 reset this week, R is for recognizing the traps that you might fall into, and K is for keeping momentum or kicking buttski. So let's use the SPARK framework that is also in my book, Pursue Your Spark, and relation to what we're talking about. So let's start with self-assessment. Ask yourself, when I finish my workouts, do I feel stronger and supported or drained and frustrated? By stronger, you know what I mean. Supported, maybe you're going, what does that mean, Heike? Supported. Supported means that this workout is supporting everything else you do in life. And I just said this to one of my clients today. She said, I can't come and see you for Pilates every week. I have to somehow fit it in with my busy schedule. And I said, whatever you learn through me, through Pilates, will support what you do at the gym, what you do with your business travels. So think about it. Is your workout, or do your workouts make you feel stronger and supported, or drained and frustrated? That's a red flag. Plan your path. Shift toward strength training first. Be cardio smart. That might mean adjusting when and how you move, not forcing yourself into routines that no longer fit you. Not because you've done this all along, you keep doing your 5 cardio workouts. Sometimes you have to be a little bit more flexible and think about what it is that you're going to do. But you may want to grab my book and get some ideas there, because I do have worksheets and action templates in there. Now, brings us to action. Do only 1 reset this week. Replace 1 cardio day with a 20-minute strength workout. No matter how simple. It doesn't have to be any super duper complicated, written out routine. Do 20 body weight squats. Do 20 push-ups on a counter. Grab a dumbbell and do some overhead presses. 1 swap can change how you feel tremendously. I can't tell you how empowering it is to feel strong. And maybe you know it already. You're saying, Heike, you're preaching to the choir here, but I want to really drill this home. Keep your cardio playing on the side, but focus on the strength. Now, the R is recognizing traps. If you hear yourself saying, but cardio always has worked before, that's your signal you've outgrown the old system. And that goes for everything. It has always worked before. To me, that's a big, big, big red flag, a big trap that we fall into, because we keep hammering away at that workout that used to work and is no longer working in the hopes that it somehow magically will work again. But it won't. It will just leave you frustrated and not getting to the goals that you want. So if you hear yourself saying, and I told you I'm not going to talk about nutrition, but I can't resist it. If you say the way I eat keeps me going back on a diet, you've outgrown that old nutrition system of yours. And then K is keeping momentum or kicking buttski. This is not about intensity. It's about consistency. Small strength habits done regularly, consistently, will protect you far more than sporadic all-out efforts. You will feel overall so much better. Ooh, I know this was a lot today, but we reset how we look at midlife fitness, moving from cardio first to strength first, so you can feel stronger, steadier, and more energized every day. That's your new foundation. But here's the bigger question. What if your body's signals, the fatigues, the restlessness, even the symptoms you'd rather ignore aren't setbacks at all? In our next episode, functional nutritionist Andrea Nakayama shows us why those very symptoms might be the guideposts you've been missing, so you won't miss this episode.